Greetings and welcome back to the channel. Official Accountability here. Listen, before I get started, I just want to let you guys know that the Patreon is still active. The link is still up. However, I don't check that site too often. I do probably once every week or so. But if you want to get in contact with me, it's going to either be through the main site or through the email address, all right? We do still have the WhatsApp group, and we do still have the Telegram group, which is a lot more helpful to those of you, especially to those of you who want to travel internationally. The Telegram group is going to be for you. However, the WhatsApp group is for those. It's a free group for those who just want to vent, tell their problems or whatever. We're here to listen, all right? So without further ado, I just want to throw that out there that the Patreon is active. However, I do not check that too often, all right? So again, the website, the main website, and the email is going to be the best way to reach me. So without further ado, we're going to go over a few questions, comments, and concerns that I have, as well as some of you who have reached out to me. And I just want to throw this out there for the most part. Any advice that I give you or offer you is strictly based off of what I research through government sites and government entities, all right, government officials. I'm not going to feed you any bullshit from Google or from forums. I'm not going to do that, all right? I can either tell you based off of my personal experience or what I've researched through state sites and federal sites. That's it, that's all right? So if you feel that my information is inaccurate, I can challenge you on that. Send me an email and let's discuss it. If you feel that anything that I've said in the past was inaccurate, send me an email and let's discuss it, all right? So that's first and foremost. Secondly, I want to let you guys know also, because this was an issue that did happen, and I feel like I wasn't being clear enough to the individual who reached out to me. This individual contacted me, asked me a question, and in order for me to answer his question, I needed to ask him questions back, right? There were questions that I needed answered in order to answer his question properly. The deal was that he wanted to know, well, I don't want to go deep into that, but all right, he asked me a question and I couldn't answer it unless he answered my questions. And for the most part, I felt that he was kind of dodging, didn't want to tell me the whole situation. And the circumstances were just bad circumstances all around, all right? This individual wanted to travel, but he had other shit going on right here in the US, and I couldn't answer him properly, all right? So the question that I asked him back, I guess offended him, and he just basically shut down. So I guess he felt that I was trying to dig too much, but hey, don't ask me. If you don't want me to dig, don't ask me, right? I gotta know what I'm dealing with. So that's another thing, all right? If you ask me a question or if you contact me about your situation, I can try my best to get you answers, but only if you answer my questions and only if you answer truthfully. You gotta be 100% upfront in order for me to get you what you need. Answer your questions accurately, all right? Let's just say that. All right, so another question that I got asked is, can I appeal my case after I plead guilty? Listen. All right, so how can I put this? If you plead guilty, for the most part, the answer is going to be no, because you've waived your right to appeal, and the judge has made that very clear at your sentencing. They ask you a series of questions like, hey, do you understand, or do you comprehend, or this and that, this and that. Did you sign this? Did you agree to this? The judge is going to ask you a series of questions to confirm the fact that they're going to honor your plea deal and you are waiving the right to appeal. However, there are circumstances where you do have the right to appeal even though you plead guilty. And some of those circumstances would include, and I wrote this down, the judge didn't accept your sentence, in which you probably have gone to trial and got found guilty, right? So, but also I do know that you can plead guilty. The judge didn't accept what the district attorney has offered and what you've agreed to with your attorney. The judge can reject that and give you a different sentence. In that situation, you do have a limited right to appeal, all right? Or if there was like an error within the agreement, you can appeal that. Or if you were misled by the prosecutor or the district attorney's office, let's say they told you one thing, and then you got there, you pled guilty, and then it was like, oh, by the way, no, we didn't mean 5 months, we meant 5 years. And you're like, what the hell, that's not what you said. You do have a right to appeal in that sort of situation, which is probably gonna be rare because everything's gonna be written down for you to comprehend and understand fully. If you were coerced or kind of forced into taking your plea, that's gonna be another circumstance, kind of like, let's say you get arrested and the detective who's interviewing you he's not accepting your right to remain silent. He's still sitting there and he's like, hey, we need answers. This is gonna help you out. And you're like, listen, I don't want to talk. And he's like, but this is to help you out. Just kind of tell us something. He's kind of forcing you and coercing you into talking when you've already said you don't want to talk. You might have a right to appeal in that case. And these are not accurate responses. All right, this is sheerly speculation off the examples that I'm giving you. So I don't want you to take that and run with it. All right, I'm only telling you that these are only certain circumstances where you might have the opportunity to appeal, but for the most part, the answer is probably going to be no. All right, you can hire an appellant attorney to go back to trial, and what's going to happen is, if the judge accepts your attorney's motion to reopen the case, what happens is you basically fight your case all over again from the very beginning. This could be a pro and a con, all right? This could be a gift and a curse. And I say that because on one hand, you could potentially get your case dismissed since so long has gone by and all the evidence has pretty much gone away. Witnesses are not alive anymore, or people don't want to cooperate anymore, whatever the case may be. This may be an opportunity for you to have your case dismissed after so long has gone by, but you've already served the sentence before, all right? So again, this is hiring an appellant attorney to argue that matter. But the con to that would be, you've served the sentence before, the judge could re-sentence you all over again and give you another sentence. That's the con of that, all right? So you do got to be careful. And this, another thing, when you file for an appeal with your attorney, this could be also under, if you feel that your sentence was too harsh. Let's say you're in there for possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and you get 20 years in prison for that ounce. That's clearly a harsh punishment. And there are other countries that will accept asylum claims based off of sentences like that. I've seen it before. I actually do check Interpol myself. Not for myself, because I'm not there, but I do check the wanted persons, and I see what they're being sentenced for, and then I do my Google research on them. And one lady was able to get asylum in Canada as a convicted felon based off of her sentence, which was way too harsh. So, of course, this is out of Florida. Florida is just bananas when it comes to sentencing, all right? So those are going to be some of the things that you could possibly appeal. But again, I say and I reiterate, for the most part, the answer is going to be no. You don't have the right to appeal because you've waived it when the judge agreed with you and the prosecutor, with your attorney and the prosecutor. You came to a middle ground and said, I want probation. The prosecutor says, okay, we'll give you probation. The judge says, okay, you have no background, no criminal history. I think you're a good candidate for probation, so let's do it. In that case, you're probably not going to be able to argue for an appeal, all right? Another thing that I will say is when you do plead guilty, you plead guilty, and then after a period of time, laws change. Let's say you plead guilty and you accept this punishment, and then a law comes into place 20, 30 years later, and they're like, okay, now we want you to do this because you were convicted of this or that, X, Y, and Z. That's a potential for filing an appeal. And I say potential because I'm not positive in that aspect. I see what's going on with the registry, and it is a lot of bullshit, all right? They're changing laws, constantly moving the goalpost, and I'm honestly not sure how come no one has actually filed an appeal based off of that. I'm sure some groups have discussed it amongst legislators and lawmakers and all of this, but their cries do fall on deaf ears for the most part, all right? So this last question is, how can I find out if my passport has been canceled? People, let me just tell you this. You're not gonna know if your passport has been canceled unless you fly out. It sucks, but that's the harsh reality of it, all right? I can't tell you if your passport has been canceled. I can't tell you who to call or where to go to confirm your passport has been canceled. The only thing that I can suggest to do is, if you know you're getting ready to fly to, let's say, I don't know, Romania or something like that, you book a domestic flight. Let's say you live in Texas, you want to fly from San Antonio to Houston, book that sort of flight domestically and use your passport. What happens is they scan it at TSA, and TSA is able to tell you if your passport is valid or not. All right. They do have access to NCIC, which is the Criminal International Database. They know that you have a criminal record at TSA. It's also for TSA to confirm if you're on the no-fly list, this, that, and the third. So TSA, they're able to really confirm if your passport is canceled or not. So I would suggest to book a domestic flight first, use your passport then, and if things go good, then book your international flight. But don't book it months in advance, all right? You don't want to do that. Number one, well, you know what, I'm not even going to get into that. But TSA domestic flight, there you go. All right, so that's been the topics that I've been asked, or the topics that I wanted to bring to your attention. Again, nothing that I mentioned is to help you go to jail. I don't want to see any of you in jail unless you're still doing fucked up shit, but I do want to help you guys out. So if you are interested in joining the Telegram or the WhatsApp, send me a message. The email is still valid. I respond to YouTube comments. I mean, if they're not bullshit, that is, but for the most part, the site, check the site, and I will get back to you. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I do apologize for the delay in videos. I'm not doing any travel right now. I do plan on flying out next month. All right, so I'm gonna keep you guys updated with that, but I will be going to a new country. I will not post that in these videos, but I will be flying back out to a new country next month. Peace.